All right, now let's get started with stage changes.
Stage changes allow you to delete and add records simultaneously. This way, you don't have to make changes at 3 in the morning and hope no one notices.
All right, so we've already logged into our account, and we're going to start from the dashboard to show you how you can stage changes with Constellix.
Okay, so first you're going to go to Manage DNS, click Domains, and then you're going to select the domain that you want to perform the stage change to.
So right now, we are going to show you a pretty common use case. Let's say that right now you are hosting your website on a single web server that is sitting at our fake IP of 5.5.5.5. But you want to add your domain to a CDN. To do that, you're going to need to create a CNAME record. Now, what we're first going to do is delete our www record. And you'll see that a notification came up saying to apply your changes, click here, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to create a CNAME record. And at the same time we're deleting the A record, we're going to be adding in a CNAME with no appreciable downtime for end users. One thing I do recommend is ahead of time, if you know you're going to do this, lower the TTL on your A record so that the DNS information isn't cached for a long time. And that way you can guarantee that your end users are going to go to the correct endpoint. All right, so we're going to create a new www record and point it to mycdn.com, which is our host name, save, and commit our changes.
So in one push, we are able to delete our old record and add our new record with no appreciable downtime.
And every time you commit your changes, it's a really good idea to leave a helpful note. This will come in handy later when you're looking at version control. All right, now we're going to look at the activity log.
Activity logs allow you to view a downloadable log of users' activities over time. You can use this to track changes made by sub-users in your account. A major benefit to this is you can keep accountable employees for all of their changes.
All right, so you'll notice in the sidebar, there's a button called View Activity Log. Now this is for your general account. This is not domain specific. So you can see all changes made by all users that are sub-users or administrators for your account. You can see the IP address they logged in from and their browser. You can see all the changes that they made. And, well, you only have one user right now, but you'll be able to see all the different people who are making changes to your domains. All right, and now we're going to move on to version control.
Version control compares different versions of each domain and allows you to revert to a previous version. Version control is crucial for any DevOps or web development environment.
So version control is domain specific as opposed to activity log, which is for the entire account. So if we want to look at stage changes, we would click on View History, and here you can see all the different versions of this domain. And let's say we want to put it back onto the web server and stop using the CDN. We can compare the current changes, and this way you can see the new value for your record and the old value. If you had more than one record change, you would see that too. So let's say we want to go back to this version. You click Restore Version and OK, and you won't need to commit your changes. All right. Domain templates.
Okay. Do you have multiple settings you want to use on a bunch of domains? We recommend creating a template. Once you apply a template to a domain, any changes you make will automatically be pushed to all domains you previously applied it to. This is great for shared hosting companies that manage many different domains and want groups of them to be pointed to a similar endpoints or have shared settings. In this example, we are going to point multiple domains to a CDN. This means we will need to create a CNAME record that points to the host name of our CDN inside of the template.
All right, take it away, Jesse.
Okay.
So we're going to go to Manage DNS and click on Templates.
And here I'm going to create a new template.
So whenever you create a template, you have a couple different options. You can either create a template based on an existing one, or you can create it based on configurations you have within a domain. We're going to do this one from scratch.
All right, so now you see the template that I just created with amongst the other templates.
And we're going to create a CNAME record that points to our CDN.
So www. The host will be mycdn.com. And then you're going to click Save and Close.
Now you will need to commit your changes. This will not be applying it to any domains yet, though. All right. And if we want to apply this to a domain, we click Apply Template, and let's apply it to
template.com.
Cool. All right. Now, if we take a look at template.com, since we didn't have anything applied to it before, you're going to need to commit your changes. And now any future changes we make to that template are automatically going to be pushed to this domain, and you will not need to commit your changes. So it's a really great way if you have a bunch of domains that you want to use the same configurations for. And templates, you can do all sorts of stuff. You don't just need to create records with them, but you can do a globally apply GTD and make different records for different regions, and those would be automatically applied to all of your domains. You can do GeoIP services and create an IP filter. Say you want to blacklist a specific IP address or ASN or location. You can globally apply that IP filter to a bunch of domains at once in just one click. All right, let's move on to advanced search and bulk modifications.
Okay. Advanced search allows you to look up similar values in domains, templates, and pools. You can use the search results to make bulk modifications, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's say you have multiple systems pointing to a downed endpoint. This could be a web server or a network you're pointing to. You can use advanced search to check all the domains that may be pointing at that endpoint. This tool is really useful for shared hosting companies who will have dozens of domains that all point to the same endpoint, usually a web server or mail server. Since we have a down endpoint on multiple domains, we will need to search for it by IP address and then manually fail over that IP address to a new one using bulk modifications.
So let's say we have a web server that's not working and that's sitting at 1.1.1.1. Search for it here, and here are the results.
Okay, so what you're going to do is you want to make sure you check both of the domains. Click bulk modifications. And here it's going to ask action to perform, update, and the type of record we're changing is an A record.
And now if you want to filter down these results, say you have just the www records you want to move over to the new endpoint. You can filter it that way, or say there's a specific TTL. So since we're changing the IP address, we're going to change it from 1.1.1.1 to 2.2.2.2. We're very creative with our IP addresses. All right. And now you can preview the changes to make sure that this is what you're trying to do. And you can see the old values and the new values. All right. Oh, there we go. And then you're going to select the domains that you want to commit the changes for. Leave a helpful note if you want. And ta-da! Now if we come and look at our domains, we'll see that the www now points to the new endpoint of 2.2.2.2. All right, was there anything else with that? Oh, okay, cool. Oh, tags. So there's another way to do this a lot easier. What you can do is you can create a tag, and you can apply these tags to any domain you want. You can apply multiple tags, like say we have a bunch of domains we're using for, I don't know, something. And we want to apply this to a domain. You can come here and you just click the little tag button, apply whatever you want. You can do multiple, you can do just one. And then later on when you're searching, you can search by tag, and it makes it a lot quicker to filter through domains. All right. Can you go grab Steve? All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about ITO pools. This is a brand new feature that we're pushing out this week, and you'll be able to make pools of endpoints. A lot of people will use this for CDNs. If you have a multiple CDN configuration and you want to bounce your traffic across them, say you only want traffic, or you want the majority of your traffic to go to the CDN that's performing better at that time, you would create a record pool, and then you can create ITO rules that say, you know, in this point, endpoint is what? How would you explain? Give me a use case for ITO pools.
So the best case for ITO pools would be measuring your server's performance or CDN performance. So if you wanted to do a mixture of CDN providers, and common in today's industry is to not just choose one DDoS, CDN, WAF, PCI compliance provider. It's choosing multiple. So you choose your 2 or 3 different providers, and you can choose those based upon budget reasons. You can choose those based on performance reasons, whatever the reasons are. And then within Constellix, we can then monitor regionally which CDN DDoS providers are functioning better and which ones are not. And so you have the benefit of directing your users to the fastest CDN provider in regional and within that region. And then on top of that, of course, Constellix already has the pool failover feature, which allows you to fail over from one CDN provider to another automatically. So in case any provider starts having issues, you'll automatically be directing your users to the fastest CDN provider or your own server at the same time. So sometimes companies that want to build their own CDNs or don't have the money to do their own CDNs, they'll do different cloud instances. And you can do the exact same logic there, is we can monitor your servers for you. You could put EC2 instances up. You could put instances on LeaseWeb. You could put instances on a lot of other different providers and cloud computing instances. And we can measure the performance of those and direct users to the fastest servers you have within that region.
Very cool. All right. And then we're going to be talking about this more at our next webinar, which should probably be in the next week or two. And we'll give you a guided tour of ITO. And if you guys have any use cases, feel free to shoot us an email. You can send it to me or Jesse. Maybe we'll feature it in our next webinar. All right. Now we're going to do some Q&A with Stephen Job, the founder and president of Constellix. If you have any questions, please post it in the questions section. Bueller?
All right, so we see a couple. So a couple of good questions here. And first, I want to thank everyone for attending the webinar. So one question somebody has is, how does the failover features work within pools? And so that integration we have actually covered in a different webinar earlier on. I'd love to talk about it real quickly. You monitor your pool configuration. So you have your A record pools, your quad A record pools, your CNAME pools, and you monitor those configurations within our Sonar application. Once you have those monitored in Sonar, within Sonar you can choose the frequency, how often you want those to be monitored, combined with which regions you want them to be monitored from. And then within the Constellix DNS piece, you automatically would link them up within Sonar, because once you put in the IP or the FQDN of the system you have within your pool, it will automatically show you all your different Sonar checks, and you link it in. And so as soon as any system goes down, the traffic is moved over directly to the next system in the pool. So it's taken out of the pool. You can have 5 different systems, and when one goes down, only 4 would be shown. And this kind of goes right in hand with our second question we have here, which is the frequency of how often we check our Sonar monitoring. And so with that one, it's all done within Sonar. You can choose every 30 seconds, every 1 minute, every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or 1 hour. So you could choose your frequency, and we could be monitoring those at any frequency you'd like. And it's configurable totally by you. The pricing is based upon how often we do check and the number of systems we check from. So obviously, the more often we check, it's going to be a little higher price point. And that goes into the last question I see here right now, is what's the cost of the monitoring? And so the monitoring is based upon the number of times we do check your individual systems. And what we do with that is we automatically will calculate the number of checks we have. So if you're checking from 5 systems every 30 seconds, there's 2 different ways of checking. You can check to see if you want to check all 5 systems every 30 seconds. You want to check from one location every 30 seconds, but 5 different ones. Obviously, one configuration would be 5 times more than the other one. So another question we have there, are any plans to introduce subdomains with limited access? Sub-admins with limited access. For instance, we like to share admin responsibilities with other groups in our org, but limit them to administering a specific domain. Yes, we already have that configuration already. That configuration is already part of the Constellix DNS system. It's been there for, since we were still in beta, actually. So it's been there for about 2 years now. If you have any questions or problems with the implementation of that, feel free to reach out to our support team. They're more than happy to answer those questions for you. And we have another question here. Finally was, well, within the pool interface, is there a way to limit the functionality by the sub-admin functionality of the pools to see if they have the same granular access as we did with the domain access? And the answer to that is no. The domain access and the security features are tied to the domain. So there is a functionality within the pools to allow people to edit the pools. That is a piece of functionality you can have. But if they are modifying a pool, you have to make sure and understand that they could be modifying all the domains that are attached to the pool. So there is one specific security feature that allows access to pools, but make sure that when you do give someone that access, they will be modifying all the domains that the pool is touched to. And so I think that's our last question I see.
Awesome. All right. If you have any more questions, feel free to tweet us on Twitter, send us an email, reach out to us on LinkedIn. We're more than happy to help you out. All right. Thanks for attending. Bye.